It has been a while since we last explored a fresh page transition concept here on the channel, as I have been focusing quite a lot on scroll animations for the past few months. Now, for those of you who have been keeping an eye on things, you might remember that around 2 months ago, I covered this really cool SVG powered image hover effect, and ever since putting that together, I knew the same technique had a lot of potential beyond just hover interactions. So last weekend, I took those same SVG elements and repurposed them into a full page transition effect using Next.js and GSAP. As you can see here, every time I navigate between routes, the SVG strokes draw in and fill the entire screen to cover the current page, and then continue forward off the other side to reveal the new one underneath. It creates this really fluid vibe that feels organic and hand-drawn compared to the typical slide or fade transitions. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to build this step by step using Next Transition Router and GSAP. We'll set up the transition provider, wire in the SVG paths, and then animate them with the stroke dash offset technique to get this effect working across all your routes. If you'd like to access the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's get into the code. Just to save some time, I've already set up a few placeholder pages along with a navigation bar and some basic styling. Let me quickly walk you through what I have so far. There are 3 pages: Home, About and Contact. Each one is pretty straightforward, just a section with a class of hero and an h1 inside it. For the navigation, I have a navbar component using Next.js link components instead of regular anchor tags. The reason for that is link handles client-side navigation, meaning the page does not do a full reload when you click a link. This is important because our transition effect later will depend on intercepting that navigation. The navbar itself has a logo on the left linking back to home and 3 page links on the right. Now in the root layout, the navbar is rendered right before children. Since the layout component wraps every route in the app, this means the navbar stays mounted across page changes and does not unmount and remount every time I navigate. I've also set up a few fonts using the Next.js font module. What this does is it downloads and self-hosts the font files at build time, so there are no external requests to Google Fonts at runtime. It exposes them as CSS custom properties, which I can then use anywhere in my style sheet. On the styling side, I've defined a couple of custom properties on the root for the background and foreground colors, so the palette is controlled from a single place. The navbar is fixed positioned, so it sticks to the top of the viewport, and Flexbox handles the spacing between the logo and the links. The hero section is set to 100 viewport height. The content is centered with Flexbox, and the h1 uses Clamp for a fluid font size that scales between mobile and desktop without any media queries. With all of that in place, I have the dev server running, and as you can see here, clicking through the navbar links swaps between pages. Right now, there is no transition at all. The pages just cut instantly. So let's start building that out. The first thing we need to do is install the packages we'll be using. I will open up the integrated terminal and install GSAP along with Next Transition Router. GSAP is what we'll use to animate the SVG strokes, and Next Transition Router is what lets us hook into Next.js page navigations and run custom animations during route changes. Now with those installed, we need a provider component that will handle the page transition. So I'm going to create a new folder called providers inside the source directory, and inside that, let's create a new file called TransitionProvider. This component is going to be responsible for intercepting page navigations and running our SVG animation before and after each route change. Now first thing at the top, I need to add the use client directive. This is required because the transition logic involves refs, effects, and browser APIs which only run on the client side. Then I will import the transition router from Next Transition Router. This is the package that does the heavy lifting for us. It hooks into Next.js client-side routing and gives us leave and enter callbacks where we can run whatever animation we want before the old page unmounts and after the new page mounts. Now for the component itself, I will export a default function called TransitionProvider that accepts children as a prop. Inside it, for now, we'll just return transition router with the auto prop and wrapping children inside it. The autoprop tells transition router to automatically intercept any Next.js link navigations in the app, so we do not have to manually trigger transitions ourselves. Children is whatever page content gets passed through from the layout. Now we need to actually use this provider. So back in the root layout, we need to import TransitionProvider from the providers folder and then wrap children with it right below the navbar. Now let me go back to the TransitionProvider. What we need to do next is add the SVG that will act as our transition overlay. This is what will visually cover the screen during the page change. So right above children, I'll create a new div with the class of transition SVG. This div is going to be the container that holds our SVG and sits on top of everything as a fixed overlay. Inside that, I'll paste in an SVG element with 2 path elements. These paths are basically hand-drawn looping bezier curves that zigzag across the canvas. The view box is set to match the coordinate space that the paths were designed in, and I have set preserve aspect ratio to none, which is important because it allows the SVG to stretch and fill the entire viewport regardless of the screen's aspect ratio. Each path has a stroke color referencing a CSS custom property, a stroke width of 200, and stroke line caps set to round for smooth ends. Now let me get the styling done for this. First of all, I'll define the 2 stroke color variables on the root. I am setting transition stroke 1 to this orange and transition stroke 2 to this purple. Having these as custom properties means I can easily swap the colors from one place without touching the component. Then for the transition SVG container itself, I am setting it to fixed positioning so it stays locked to the viewport and does not scroll with the page content. Top 50% and left 50% along with the translate -50 on both axes centers it perfectly in the viewport. The scale 1.5 on the transform is key here. It overscales the SVG slightly so the strokes fully cover every edge of the screen when they expand. Width and height are both 100% to fill the viewport, and pointer events is set to none so the overlay does not block any clicks or interactions with the page underneath. We also set a high Z index to make sure it sits above everything else. Next, for the SVG itself inside the container, I'm just setting width and height to 100% so it fills its parent completely. And finally, on the path elements, I'm setting stroke dash offset and stroke dash array both to a high value. This is a CSS only safeguard to make sure the paths are hidden on the initial page load. Without this, you might see an artifact before the JavaScript runs where the raw SVG strokes would flash on the screen. Setting a huge dash offset like this effectively hides them from the start, and then once our use effect kicks in, it will replace these with the actual calculated values. With that in place, in the next step, we'll set up the JavaScript side to properly measure the path lengths and wire up the transition animations. Alright, so now we need to set up the refs and the use effect that will measure our SVG paths. To do that, I'll first import useRef and useEffect from React. Then inside the component, I'll create 2 refs. SVG ref is going to hold a reference to the SVG element itself, and paths ref will store an array of the individual path elements inside it. The reason I'm using a ref for the paths array instead of state is because we do not need React to re-render when this value changes. We just need a persistent reference that GSAP can access later during the animations. Now to actually connect SVG ref to the SVG element, I will go ahead and set the ref on the SVG tag. With that in place, we can now set up the use effect. This is where we measure the paths and set up the initial dash values that make this stroke draw technique work. So first thing inside, we are doing a quick guard check. If SVG ref does not exist for whatever reason, we just bail out early. After that, we grab all the path elements from the SVG using query selector all and convert that node list into an array so we can store it in the paths ref. Now comes the important part. We loop through each path and call getTotalLength on it. This is a native SVG method that returns the exact pixel length of the particular path, and since both of our paths have different curves, they will each have a different length. Once we have that value, we set both stroke dash array and stroke dash offset to that length. So what this does is it creates a single dash that spans the entire path but offsets it by its full length, which effectively hides the stroke completely. And this replaces the large values we set in CSS earlier with the actual precise measurements. Alright, so now that the paths are measured and hidden, it is time to bring in the animation. So I'll go ahead and import GSAP at the top. The first animation we need is the leave transition, which is what runs when the user clicks a link and the current page is about to exit. So transition router gives us a next callback here, and we have to call it when our animation finishes so it knows when to actually swap the page content. With that in mind, we are creating a GSAP timeline and setting onComplete to next. That way, the page swap happens automatically once the animation is done. Then we loop through each path and add a tween to the timeline. What we are animating here is stroke dash offset down to 0, which draws the stroke in from fully hidden to fully visible. And at the same time, we are also animating stroke width attribute from 200 up to 700 using the attribute object. This is really the trick that makes the whole effect work. As the stroke draws in, it also gets thicker, and because these paths loop and crisscross across the entire view box, a stroke width of 700 is more than enough to completely fill the screen with color. Finally, I'm returning a cleanup function that kills the timeline, which just prevents any issues if the component happens to unmount while the animation is still running. Now for the enter transition, which runs right after the new page is mounted, and we need to reveal it by clearing the SVG overlay. So same structure here, we create a timeline with onComplete calling next. We then loop through the paths, but this time I first need to grab each path's total length again, and here is where it gets interesting. Instead of animating stroke dash offset back to the positive length, which would just reverse the stroke back the way it came in, like a rewind, we need to animate it to a negative length. What the negative value does is it pushes the dash forward past the end of the path. So visually it looks like this stroke is continuing its journey of the other side of the screen rather than shrinking back to where it started. That gives it a much more fluid and natural feel. Along with that, I am bringing stroke width back down to 200 so the strokes thin out as they exit. Now once each path finishes its animation, we are using GSAP's set method right away to reset stroke dash offset back to the positive length. This step is critical because it puts everything back to its initial hidden state, ready for the next time someone navigates. And same as before, we return a cleanup function to kill the timeline. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, clicking through the pages now triggers this SVG stroke wipe that draws in to cover the old page and then continues forward to reveal the new one underneath. Hope you found the video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.